Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 39 of Limitless Studios TV. Be sure, as always, to go check out our forums. We've been getting a few more members than usual, and there's been more activity over there, as well as we actually changed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, we took most of the
technology stuff.
Yeah, the technology stuff.
Nobody
out.
ever posted, so.
Yeah, so it's pretty much all recording now.
Yep.
In this video, as you can see, we've got a crazy setup.
Yeah.
Going on here. We were actually going to do a full live drum miking video. We did a little drum miking video.
But we didn't have any videos, just a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, it was a bunch of pictures
slideshow.
and stuff. But today we set up everything. So we have 5 different mics on this whole kit here. And we're going to go through everything, how we mic'd it, what mics we're using, positions of the mics. Then we're going to play it live, completely dry, no effects. And then we'll be doing a completely wet with everything processed.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably do a daily tip on going through all of that process.
All the mixing process.
Yeah.
It's too long to go into right now, so I'll do it in all separate parts.
Yeah, this video is going to be pretty lengthy, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, this is going to be a complete drum miking video. So I guess we'll go ahead and start off with the positions of the mics. As you can see up here, we've got 2 overheads. The left one here is pointing pretty much directly at the center of the snare. If you want to use just 2 overheads, you're going to want to make sure that this is 2 sticks right above the snare.
Yep.
And then also it was 2 sticks this way, correct?
Yeah, above the drummer's right shoulder.
Above the drummer's right shoulder. And if you're only using 2 mics, you can actually get a pretty decent sound.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good. I think they call it the recorder man method or something like that.
Yeah, although you might want a kick mic because you're not going to be able to get the thump with just 2 overheads.
Uh-huh.
But we've mic'd with the 2 overheads here. And then we've also got 2 snare mics. The top one is an SM57, which is pretty much an industry standard for miking a snare drum. It's about 2 inches or so above the snare head and then pointed 3/4 of the way down the snare drum itself. On the bottom we actually have one of my CAD Pro 7-piece drum mic kit that I always talk about. That's actually that mic on the bottom of the snare in the same position, just reversed underneath of the snare is the actual snare mic from that kit. We'll put a link in the sidebar to all these mics and things.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much pointed directly at the actual snares because you really want to get the actual snare sound from the bottom of the snare.
Uh-huh.
As for the mic position on the top, the closer you pull it into the center of the snare, the bigger your sound of the snare is going to be. And if you pull it out towards the rim of your snare drum, it's going to be a higher pitched type sound. And then the farther away you bring it up off the snare, you're going to get more room out of the snare, and you actually get sort of a bigger, not a bigger sound, but a bigger ambience off of the snare. And the closer you put it to the snare, you're going to get a really dry sound out of the snare. So that's the snare miking. As for the kick drum, also the kick mic is actually also from the CAD Pro 7-piece drum mic kit. And it's actually it's pointed directly at the beater, but it's actually sitting at the start of right around the rim of the bass drum, as you can probably see there.
Yeah, on the outside of the outside rim.
Experimenting with this, we actually found that if you put it really close to the beater, you don't get the big bass drum sound that you're really looking for. So when you go to EQ, you really got to put really bring out the bass. But if you put the mic back and point it directly at the beater, you get the strong attack and some of the click that you want in a metal type bass drum, but you also get the full rounded bass drum sound as well.
Yeah. That
may vary with different mics and things, but with this particular mic we found that is the best position and this particular bass drum.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk a little bit about the actual drums we're using. These cymbals are made by Paiste.
I can't remember how you pronounce it.
They're not that high end, but I mean they're decent for what they do. The toms are from like a traveler kit. So they're pretty small, as you can tell. But they have Remo ebony heads on them. but they're really, really small, so you can't get a huge sound out of them.
Yeah, they don't really sound too awful great.
Yeah. The bass drum, I'm not actually sure what the bass drum brand is. It's a Percussion Plus bass drum. It's a 20-inch bass drum, correct?
Yeah, 20-inch. I can't remember the actual width, I guess, or depth.
Yeah, and then it's got a Evans EQ3 batter head on it, and also a Remo, one of those, I don't know what you call them, but they're an actual batter dampening thing that goes on the front, so you don't damage your actual batter head.
Yeah, and then it's muffled with a little muffle ring and a one towel, I think.
Yeah, one towel. And ideally, you want the resonator head on the front too, but the actual front head of this one doesn't have a sound hole cut into it.
Yeah.
So that's why that's actually off at the moment. If you have a sound hole in there, then you can actually bring out more of the resonance of the bass drum and get a bigger sound. But this works fine too. So, and then the snare, this is my snare that I brought from my house. They don't make these anymore, but this is a Gretsch Catalina Club special edition pearl marbleized snare drum. It's a 6-ply snare drum with an Evans G1 coated snare head on top. And I actually got this from Musician's Friend a long time ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a special edition they run. You can probably find them on eBay.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. Oh, bass drum pedals, if you're wondering, they're DW4000s.
Yep.
And that doesn't really affect the sound, but...
And then what size is the snares?
The snare is a 14-inch diameter by 6.5 depth snare drum, and it has, I believe it's, I can't remember what size strainer it is. This is the normal size strainer.
Yeah.
And on the strainers, I actually have them pretty tight. That way they don't rattle too much. It's a really tight, slappy snare.
So we don't have to use too much gate.
Yeah, and you don't have to use too much compression either.
Yeah.
It already has a nice tight sound. So I think that's pretty much all about the mic, and actually how we mic the kit.
Yeah, the overheads are also part of the drum kit. Or
yeah, the overheads are also
drum
part
piece,
of the CAD Pro 7-piece drum mic kit.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
They're pencil condensers, so you might not even be able to see the mics. They're only about 3 or 4 inches long.
They might not even be in the frame, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if they are or not, but they're up there.
But they are up there.
So I think that's about it about actually how we mic'd everything up.
Yep.
Obviously, if you have any more questions about really super specifics, you can post them on the forum or post them in the comments.
Yeah. And
we'll get back to you or make an actual video. So I think we're going to go ahead and go into the dry drum sound.
All right.
Make sure you wear ear protection because these things get really loud.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting these on.
So make sure that your drums are probably 100 and something decibels when you're sitting right up behind them, and you can get some serious ear damage. So when you're playing drums, make sure you wear, unless you're playing electronic drums, make sure you wear some ear protection. And are we ready to record over there?
Yep.
By the way, I haven't played drums in a long time, so this isn't going to be the best, but this is a sound video, not a performance video. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead, and this is just completely dry, no effects. We'll get to the effects, how the effects sound on the full drum kit in a second. But they are, all the levels will be corrected, so everything sounds nice, and then also the overheads will be panned slightly to the left and the right, 45% or so.
Yeah, somewhere around in there.
All right, so here we go. This is the completely dry kit. All right, so what you heard there, as we said before, that was completely dry. That's pretty much what you hear before any processing. All we did was adjust the levels.
Yep.
And so now I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put all the effects on, and you can hear what you can take from a completely dry, unaltered sound and really make it sound like a recorded, nice professionally recorded drum sound. So I think we'll go ahead and go into that.
Yep.
So this is going to be completely wet. Already put all the effects on, and he'll probably do a video or a daily tip on exactly what he went through to get the wet sound from this.
Yeah, and we should also say that we're not actually recording into these effects. We're going to be applying these after the fact, after we actually recorded this video. So yeah. It'll be technically post-processed. So.
All right.
Put these
Here
on.
we go. All right, so you can see there's a pretty dramatic difference between your completely dry sound and your completely processed sound. Now, this is also going to depend on the quality of your drum kit, mostly. The cymbals on this kit aren't incredibly great, so they're going to sound a little thin, obviously. And also, the quality of your mics are going to reflect the quality of your cymbals. So the higher the quality of your mic, the higher your quality of your drum kit really needs to be, because the mics are going to be much more sensitive to what you're playing. I think that is mostly what it takes to mic up a full drum kit. We're going all on separate tracks into
my M-Audio Fast Track Ultra, which last week's video we did an actual unboxing and product overview of it, so if you haven't checked that out, definitely go back and check that out.
And then we're running into Logic Pro, if you wanted to know what kind of software that we're using for the recording of the video. I think that's pretty much what we wanted to go through here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
If you have any other super specific questions about how we mic'd the kit or anything like that, you know, be sure to leave a comment or post on our forum. If you post on our forum, you know, more people will get back to you, because we've got a lot of people on there that really like this recording stuff.
Yep.
Also, it should be said that in the process, we might actually replace the kick and the snare, or blend a replaced kick and snare with the actual recorded ones.
Yeah, some samples that we made a little earlier.
Yeah. So it'll be these actual drums. But since the dynamics can get so varied in while you're playing a live piece, putting the samples on there can really bring a much more even sound.
Yeah.
To especially if you're playing a lot of double bass and you're not extremely skilled like me, you can really bring a much more even double bass sound to your mix. And I believe that is pretty much all we need to talk about here. Be sure, there's one thing I didn't mention on the snare, be sure that you phase reverse the bottom mic on your snare. We're actually running the bottom snare mic into that ART MP Pro mic preamp, and it actually has a phase reverse switch on it.
So, a lot of external preamps have them built in, and there's also software. I did a tip in Logic for phase reverse.
Yep.
So
that's pretty much going to be it for this episode number 39, where we did this drum recording video.
Yep.
So be sure to go and check out the forums, post any questions, and be sure to come back and check out all our daily tips. And we will see you next time in another Limitless Studios video.